Hi everyone, I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, the web camera went down yesterday. This is static images put together showing Old Faithful. It went off a total of 6 times yesterday. One time short, should have gone off at least 7 times. You know, why should you take care of the maintenance there at Yellowstone when it's recharging for another super eruption? I was thinking about 2 years ago, not last year, but the year before, when one of the cabins where the employees work collapsed into a new thermal area. Yeah, it gobbled up the workers' cabin, and the people had to be evacuated from it, the workers. Remember that? Not last year, but the year before. And I found the Twitter post, and I shared it with you guys. The woman who put up the Twitter post about the workers' cabin collapsing into the new hydrothermal system then had me blocked. Oh well. But the live camera came loose from its housing, and yeah, so it's no longer working. And this is the last image it was showing, where it was looking at the ground. God knows how long it'll take for them to get up there and fix it. And it was just fixed. If it was a rusty bolt or some kind of bracket to hold the camera in place, when they repaired the camera, they should have noticed it if they were up there. But like I said, if you know that Yellowstone won't be around much longer, why spend money on maintenance, right? We know that USGS does not report all the earthquakes that occurred there at Yellowstone. The last one they are reporting is a 1.6. Silver Gate, they call it. And using Google Earth will come out to see the location of that earthquake. There's Parker Peak. There's the location of the 1.6. That was on the 28th. We have Mirror Lake Plateau up over here. The Sour Creek Resurgent Dome, which I've talked about. This is that hot spot, the yellow area, where the trees burned up from the ground up. They turned to charcoal. So it's a little north of that. And we can see this ridge of mountains. It almost looks like, yeah, see the ring? Remember, this area here is where the professor that works at the University of Utah, Bob Smith, or Robert Smith, says will be probably the area of the next eruption. Turn Lake. Okay, there's the 1.6. And let's zoom in here. This is the area where the trees burned up. So for the last week, they are only reporting 32 earthquakes. Take note of that. 32 earthquakes in the last week. Let's see, we got a 2.0. That was on the 27th. And we'll take a look at its location. Remember when they were saying when they started to get magnitude 2 or greater earthquakes, because they were so rare, the geologists would take note and get a little worried. Alright, so, yeah, that's not far from the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome, where they got uplift along this red line that I drew out. At one time, I don't know what it is now, but it was 3 feet 4 inches of uplift between the two resurgent domes. Yep, Yellowstone has 2 resurgent domes. Most volcanoes only have 1. But Yellowstone has 2. We got the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome and then the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome, which is this hill right here. If you go to their webpage for the Old Faithful live webcam. Yep, that is the bulge of Yellowstone slowly rising for the next eruption. That's that hill right there. That's Old Faithful. A 1.1 on the 26th. 1.3. Same location up there by Hedgen Lake. That was on the 26th, so 1.2. Same location, 0.8. Same location, 0.9. Yeah, up north of the lake. 5.3 kilometers in depth reminds me of the Canary Islands, El Hierro. They said when they started getting earthquakes of 5 kilometers in depth or less, they were going to evacuate, and then they ended up having the eruption. So let's take a quick look at where that's at, near the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome. There's Sour Creek, and there's Term Lake, Fern Lake, where they had that new thermal hotspot. On the 23rd, there was another 2.1. Yep, same location as that other earthquakes. And let's see what else we got. We got a 1.7. And that's all they're showing. Something that I have not talked about in a long time is strain meters. They use strain meters along with the tilt meters to give a three-dimensional view of what's going on with the tilt of the ground there at Yellowstone. Now on the other charts I talk about how the magma is flowing slowly under the ground in an easterly direction. Here we got north. Okay, channel 1. Channel 2 is a little bit more east, okay? Channel 3, south, more of a southwest direction. And channel 0 would be basically up and down. But here's the example of it tilted so they can get a three-dimensional view of not only the tipping, the tilt of the ground, but how much the tilt is and in what direction. So we got channel 1 at the top, or channel 0, channel 1, channel 2, and channel 3. This here is the borehole for Norris Junction, and I've talked about this before, and it shows how hot it is there. Well, Norris Junction is that really active geothermal location. Blue is 0, red is channel 1, which would be northwest. See how it's up and down here? And I bring that to your attention because, yeah, look at the drop here. Okay, light green is pretty much in the middle, as are some of the other ones. The strain meter for the Madison River area. Yeah, between the 13th and 14th, let me try and bring this down. This little spike right here showed, a lot of heat coming up, and it was on multiple sites. This was Yellowstone Lake, and see the heat here? Yeah, the line of melt. I've talked about the line of melt. So 0 would be no changes at all. Notice the red, which would be channel 1, and then the green, channel 2, which would be, channel 2 would be east. So we got channel 1, and then we got channel 2. So we have uplift here. Definitely uplift. That would be the Madison River area. Then the other one we have is for Yellowstone Lake. Channel 0, which is supposed to go straight up and down. Well, you notice it's moving. What does that mean? It's not tipping, it's going up. But it's not just going up. We can see that the lake is rising by all the different monitors, all the different channels, and then the red one shows the tilt of the lake rising dramatically. So the left side of the lake is rising up, and then the right side is flooding out. The southern arm, they now have sandy beaches over here. So that's what the strain meter will tell you. We got uplift, dramatic uplift, and the lake is tipping. And we can see the pockets of hot melt between the 12th and the 14th. There was some significant magma that came up. Now we do know there at Yellowstone Lake we got that crack, a dike intrusion that's trying to break through to the crust for another eruption. And rhyolite is highly explosive. They figure if they ever have another super eruption, it would probably be about the size of the state of Rhode Island. Here we have another tilt meter of Norris Junction. Remember, this is from a borehole, a very deep well under the ground, showing the activity going back the last week. And you see how the ground is breathing up and down. Top measures north, bottom measures east. Going back to the three-dimensional view of the strain meter. Now we can see that Norris Junction is currently dropping down a little bit. It was going up. Line 0 is just, flat elevation, it is, so to speak. And it's currently going down. But we do have tilt on channel 1. That would be northwest. Top is north, bottom is east. Remember, they're measuring the flow of the magma as it goes under the ground, not just what the ground is doing if you looked across the horizon. And we have uplift. Last 7 days. Each dot would be an earthquake, and there's definitely more than 32 earthquakes there in the last week. And then the last 30 days. Top is north, bottom is east. So as it drops in one direction, it rises up in another. Kind of confusing, isn't it? Take a round bowl, tip it upside down, and tilt it in different directions. North, east, south, west with a tip. Alright, going to Grant, which is down here by West Thumb Basin, kind of off on the left. And using Google Earth, I'll show you its location. Top is north, bottom is east. I don't have a strain meter, but you can see that the magma is flowing east. And we know that this side of the lake is rising up and the opposite side is flooding out. Definitely more than 32 earthquakes in the last week. And then the last 30 days, look how it's breathing. And I've talked about this area before, where they had multiple earthquake swarms. Magma naturally wants to rise up, kind of like a ball being held underneath a pool of water. And I found an area there that was weaker, causing the earthquake swarm. Well, look at this. Last 7 days. Last 30 days. That's a lot of earthquakes they do not report. Each shaking either causes the ground because it's rising or because it's falling. The monitor they have there at Yellowstone Lake at Fishing Bridge. Again, this is a borehole, a very deep well. Drilled into the ground. Top is north. Bottom is east. Last 7 days. Now the fishing bridge is up here where the Yellowstone River flows out of Yellowstone Lake. That's where this monitor is at. Alright, so then the last 7 days, each dot would be an earthquake. The magma is flowing east, under the ground. But if you looked at the horizon, it looks like it's just rising up straight. And we got a little dot way off over here. Alright, last 30 days. Lots of dots, of course, means lots of shaking. The tilt meter, which is one of the few strain meters that they have, but this is a tilt meter. This is the borehole under the ground for the Madison River area. Again, this is the Madison River strain meter. Channel 2, light green, and channel 1, red, would be northwest. So between the two, I would say we have uplift, wouldn't you? That's the strain meter. This here is the tilt meter for the last 7 days. Lots of dots means lots of shaking. Yep, there's definitely more than 32 earthquakes. And we got uplift. Basically, the ground is rising, looking north. And the magma is flowing, kind of in east. But yeah, okay. North, west. Channel 2 and channel 1. Uplift would be northwest. Between the two, if you want to spend a lot of time looking at that and researching it, it gives you a lot of information. Again, this is the Madison River area. And then the last 30 days, top is north, bottom is east. See that? This little triangle will change depending on which way the magma is flowing. Now this one here is the Norris Geyser Basin area. See how it changes between that and that, the Y that they put out? Again, this is the last 7 days for the Madison River area. Alright, the strain meter for Norris Junction. The tilt meter for Norris Junction. Top is north, bottom is east, last 7 days. And the magma is, well, it's kind of just oozing out, but we have uplift going towards the west if you looked at the horizon. So here we have channel 1 and channel 2 towards the west. Channel 1 and 2. Now it shows here dropping in the west. So actually I would be wrong. I would say this is dropping. Each dot would be an earthquake, which causes either uplift or dropping. And it's dropping in this case in the west, according to the strain meter. So there's a case where I was wrong. And it's actually dropping. Lots of activity over there. Collapsing. It goes through all the way, going all the way back to 2014, 2020. And you can see here where it took a breath. And then going back a week, look how it stopped working around the 26th and 27th. So maybe it wasn't my fault that I read that wrong. Maybe it did jump up and, yeah, see, we got some dots here. Yeah. Yeah, I doubt if they'll go out and fix the strain meter, because it is a borehole very deep under the ground. And it's winter time. And they're not spending a lot of time on maintenance as it is. So this strain meter for Norris Junction, I don't think we're going to be able to, go by anymore. So maybe it is uplift. Yeah, we just don't know. Yeah, I would have to say it's uplift. Let's flip a coin and say, you got a 50% chance. Is it uplift or is it subsidence? Anyways. This is the last 30 days. Let's take a look here. You know, and this is an important piece of equipment. Remember, those of you that follow me, I talked about how the past eruptions, how they occurred there at Yellowstone Lake. How it did its unzipping event. It did a counterclockwise unzipping before the two resurgent domes collapsed. It started up in the Norris Junction area, and then the unzipping went down around towards Heart Lake, and when it got down there, that's when the two resurgent domes collapsed and they had their major eruption. Another view of the static cam, and then we'll go to the swarm program. This is the most recent files that I pulled when I was working on it this morning, and there was an earthquake. Let me show you. The signature right there. A little microquake. Oop, wrong one. There we go. The one on the left is the monitor for Yellowstone Lake up there by Fishing Bridge. This is West Thumb down by Grant. And the one on the right is Norris Junction. Yellowstone Lake and Norris Junction has been the one that's been the most active. Like I said, they got a crack down there on the bottom of the lake. And that rhyolite's trying to come up. Let me close this out so you can see the different little earthquakes. We have a swarm here. Let me get it on there. See that? Brought up hot gases. You see the line of melt. This is that time frame that I extracted. Let me close this out and I'll pull it over for you. That's it right there. Now West Thumb, you can see we got blobs of magma coming up. Let me extract that. And we'll change this so you can see it. Yeah, they call it blobs of magma because it's thick. You can see here at the borehole for Yellowstone Lake up by Fishing Bridge, there was an earthquake. And yeah, it probably did something to the system where the magma suddenly popped through and started pulsating. And we'll go to the spectrogram. Yeah, let me show you this here. Look at that. Blobs of magma. Let's see, we can go down to the time. See the line of melt? Remember, I've told you, there's areas in the park where they have pockets of melt. Think of a sponge with the holes in it, and those little holes being filled with melted magma. Anyways, those pockets of melted magma are only about 600 feet under the ground. Let's come up. We got one in red. And yeah, you know the ones marked in red are to alert the geologists that they're supposed to come in and review it, that the computer in that location picked up an earthquake. There's the Spectrogram, Yellowstone Lake, West Thumb, and Norris Junction. Let's look at the signature. Let me pull this down. So that would be that. Oops, excuse me. Hold on. That earthquake right there. And we'll extract it. And looks like it's got a P wave on it, which means, yeah, it occurred someplace else. And let's take a look at this. There we go. Or maybe it was 2 earthquakes. I would say 2 earthquakes, and this one was probably tectonic. The continents moving, which put pressure, which brought up the magma and caused that earthquake. I reviewed or talked about that in my last video about regular earthquakes and tectonic earthquakes. Yeah, that's two earthquakes there. I wish I could bring that up more. Let's see. No, I'll have to move it. It doesn't really matter if it's tectonic or regular, it's still an earthquake because of the ground movement. Alright, what else we got here? Yeah, blobs of magma. Yeah, look at the line of melt. Let me pull this over. Oop. So we have the borehole at Yellowstone Lake, West Thumb, and then the Madison River area. I noticed this activity right here. And let's bring this over. This is West Thumb, Yellowstone Lake, Norris Junction. Alright, let's look at the signature. Yeah, that's definitely tectonic earthquakes. Volcanic earthquakes, excuse me. Yep. And then we'll go to the 4 o'clock line. 10:08, 30 seconds. I already showed you that. And let's go up a little bit. Yeah, we got another one in red. Right there. Yeah, that was significant. Not being reported. 3:04. 30 seconds. Yeah, that's the most significant one I've shown you today. And let's take a look at the other one. Alright, that would be that earthquake there. West Thumb, Yellowstone Lake. Let's extract that. Let me pull this over for you. Yeah, that's a regular earthquake. That's not tectonic. See that? That is the popping of the ground. Yep. And I noticed this earlier, that there was magma coming in prior to that popping. So it built up pressure. Yep. And about a half an hour later, then that earthquake occurred. Isn't that something? Kind of like pumping up a balloon and pump, 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 pump. And then it went pop, went the ground. Oh, another view of the static cam. Yeah, it looks a little dirty, don't it? I just refreshed it. So that's all I have for you right now. Any thoughts or comments or questions, please put it down below. Yeah, they bring all that money in and don't bother. Yeah, why waste the money? And we could be packing up our home we have in Africa or South America, whatever. Spend that money on ready-to-eat meals for when Yellowstone does blow. It'll put the world into an ice age. Who knows for how long? If there's a major eruption. If there's a major eruption, 90% of the world's population would be dead within the first year. From starvation, the cold, disease, sanitation, power outages. Oh my goodness, I can't go on my social media. I can't post on Facebook. I can't watch the stupid videos that they show on YouTube. My world will come to an end because I can't watch Tweety Pie. You know, when ash gets on power lines, it shorts out the power. How many people are going to be trapped in elevators? How long will your water keep flowing? If it happens in winter, how long until you freeze to death? Yep, crops won't grow. The animals will die because of breathing in all the ash. It's like cement on your lungs. You can't cough it out. Animals can't cough it out. Where are you going to get your food if it's not growing and being raised? You know, it'll be like the Dust Bowl. The dust manages to creep in through every little crack that it can get in. It can get inside your structures. Back during the Dust Bowl times, they put wet claws around the doors and windows to stop the dust from coming in. And ash is the same way. Then depending on how much ash is on your roof, you have the collapse of roofs, clogged up carburetors for automobiles. Yeah, survival will be very tough. So anyways, that's all I have for you right now. Any thoughts or comments or questions, put it down below. Please stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. God bless y'all.